Today we are talking about a massive historic shift in the automotive world as China officially overtakes Japan. Fuel prices careening towards $3 a litre, Audi's secret rugged new 4x4, and why that insane GWM V8 you've been waiting for might come with a nasty carbon tax sting. There's a lot to break down, so let's jump into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today is a genuine first time in history event. For the first time ever, China has overtaken Japan as the #1 new car vehicle supplier in Australia. We're talking about 25,000 vehicles overall for the month of February, comfortably beating out Thailand, Japan, Korea. Now, before we crown China the permanent champion, we have to look at why. A huge part of this is actually Toyota. Their RAV4 stock pretty much dried up last month as they're waiting for the new model to arrive in showrooms. Once those vehicles land in Australia, Japan is almost certain to take the crown back. But the sound of inevitability is getting louder. And that brings us to GWM, because about a year ago, the collective internet lost its mind over the prospect of an all-new cut-price V8 engine. Everyone was frothing about the arrival of a new V8, which we thought would be wedged under the bonnet of the Tank 300. I was in China when it dropped, and we all knew it was going to create shockwaves. It is going to be an absolute game changer. It will be a statement vehicle for sure. Because Aussies have a deep love of V8s, and we honestly all thought V8s were going to get phased out. But here's the problem. GWM is still trying to figure out the math around how to make it work in Australia. Welcome to the wonderful world of emissions regulations. Chinese brands are known for undercutting everyone, but they're scratching their heads trying to figure out if Aussies will pay six figures for a Chinese-built V8 SUV. Now look, the engine itself is genuinely impressive. GWM unveiled its 4-litre twin-turbo V8 at the 2025 Shanghai Auto Show back in April. And this engine could single-handedly turn GWM from a Chinese challenger into a replacement for a brand like Holden. They even have Rob Tribbiani on board to help recalibrate their cars for Aussies. He was Holden's former suspension guru who set a lap record around the Nürburgring in a V8 Holden Ute. Now, the V8 specs of this GWM are properly serious. Reports from China say it could have about 400 kilowatts on its own and up to 735 kilowatts when you add in the electric motors of the hybrid system. That's more power than a V12 Lamborghini Aventador in a Chinese off-road SUV. The plug-in hybrid loophole lets GWM offer traditional V8 performance while technically meeting emissions regulations. But it's not coming in the Tank 300 as we first thought. Instead, it's expected to debut in the GWM Tank 700 and 800, both of which are not officially confirmed for Australia. I spoke with GWM Australia's Chief Operating Officer, John Kett, and his responses to my questions were refreshingly honest. He told me, and I quote, "We don't have anything more to say on our plug-in hybrid V8, but it's still there and we get a chance at the Beijing Motor Show in April to go back to Baoding and see where we are." Translation, it's not locked in. There's still one very large hurdle impeding its local launch, NVES. I like to call it NEVS, but I'm dyslexic. Anyway, it's basically a carbon tax on thirsty vehicles. Kett continued, "We've certainly got visibility around the V8, but I'm not sure we can pay the NVES penalty. I think for our whole portfolio, we'll sit on the edge of NVES penalties." What does that mean in practice? Customers wanting to buy a V8-powered GWM will almost certainly have to pay a fairly large tax on top of what would be the regular price. And that will probably include luxury car tax as well. In turn, that will push models like the Tank 800 and probably the Tank 700 deep into six-figure territory. Not cheap. GWM's head of marketing, Steve McKeever, put it simply, and I quote, "If we can build a business case and there's demand here, we'll sell as many as we can." Notice what he didn't say? He didn't say, yes, it's coming. He said they can build a business case. And here's the uncomfortable truth. GWM has built a reputation on value. The Haval Jolion, H6, Tank 300, Tank 500, they're all sharply priced and well equipped. But asking Australians to drop six figures on a GWM, even with a bonkers engine and a super luxury interior, that is a very different proposition. And I think it's something Denza is going to have to grapple with too after the flurry of early adopters get their fill. Hyundai N is facing similar difficulties under NVES as well. But the Korean brand has already said it's willing to absorb the penalties it might have to pay in order to build the brand. It's a brand building exercise. And they've got decades of credibility to lean on. GWM expects to sell around 75,000 vehicles this year. That's a big jump on last year. The question is, whether any of them have 8 cylinders remains very much up in the air. Anyway, to all the Aussies out there that are feeling depressed after watching Piastri's warm-up lap incident, I feel you.
Over the curb, off the curb, into the wall, out of the Grand Prix. Absolutely extraordinary.
But what really fascinated me was Audi finishing within the top 10. It's not just their first outing as a team, it's their first outing as an engine maker as well. It seems like Audi is going to bring a lot of interesting tech to the F1 party. And we're seeing this outside the F1 world with their new Audi 4-wheel drive SUV. Indeed, the German luxury brand is contemplating a rugged ladder chassis 4x4. And this news doesn't come from some middle manager. No, this news comes from Audi's global CEO, Gernot Dollner. I hope I said it right. The German executive and former engineer confirmed to us, and I quote, "Of course, we are thinking about something like that. No decision has been taken yet, but it is definitely in the framework that we are thinking about. It'll be rad, and flip the bird to China and drop a V8 in it as well. But as is often the case, there's a catch." He said, "If we do something like that, it is only thinkable to do it on a platform that is already there." Translation, Audi will not develop a body-on-frame platform from scratch. It's expensive. So Dollner wants an existing platform to make the business case work. Enter Scout Motors, Volkswagen Group's revived American brand, launching ladder frame EVs and range extender hybrids in the US from 2027. That Scout architecture is the obvious candidate for this new Audi SUV. And the tech specs are super impressive. We're talking locking diffs, 300 millimeters of ground clearance, and up to 900 millimeter weighting capability. Plus, it's got a 4.5 ton towing capacity, and crucially, it's designed for electrification from the outset. You got to meet those CO2 regs. Just ask GWM. Dollner continued, "You need a platform that is authentic in this segment, otherwise it does not make sense." And that's a fair call, because premium brands bringing out SUVs with rugged styling that couldn't even drive up a dirt road have been exposed before. But leveraging the Scout's platform architecture could bypass years of development. It could even cut the product cycle from, say, 7 years to 2 or 3 years. The Audi CEO continued, "The positive about the Audi brand is that almost every segment is thinkable. The spread from an entry low floor A segment, that's a small car, to a D segment, that's a large car, or an off-road car, that is all possible from the Audi brand." It's not officially green lit, but when the global CEO openly articulates the parameters, it suggests this is progressing towards a decision and not just idle speculation. Key questions for Australians would be pricing, towing capability, and also whether it's going to be fully electric, petrol hybrid, or potentially even diesel. I highly doubt that last option, but you never know. But Jesus H. Christ, it better be efficient, because fuel prices are skyrocketing in Australia and globally. Yep, the conflict in the Middle East has seen crude oil prices spike by between 25 and 40% already. That said, the flow-on effect to customers at the fuel pump will take longer to manifest. A quick check of petrolspy.com.au this week showed that prices of the cheapest unleaded petrol are already reaching $2.20. And high-octane premium petrol is getting dangerously close to $2.50 a litre already. Diesel owners are often shielded from fuel price spikes. She'll be right. Nope. In fact, diesel could be hit even harder. Gerard Thompson, the president of the Australian Livestock and Rural Transporters Association, he said transport operators and regional communities need clear information and reassurance that Australia has sufficient fuel supplies and that appropriate measures are in place to maintain stability. Panic buying only risks making the situation worse. What we need right now is calm behaviour from consumers and strong leadership and transparency from government. If diesel becomes unavailable or unreliable along key freight routes, trucks do not move. Yikes. And there are other ramifications for the auto industry as well. If fuel prices hit $3 or more, which looks increasingly likely based on the current evidence, then hybrids and EVs become more economically justifiable. And that plays right into the hands of China's automotive industry. Now, I'm not going to get political on how this war is going to affect China as a country, but within the auto industry, China dominates hybrid and EV vehicle production. Even Hyundai, Tesla, Kia, Mazda are selling Chinese-built EVs in Australia, and more brands will follow. Meanwhile, legacy brands still heavily reliant on petrol and diesel powertrains could struggle to justify running costs to new car buyers. It's one thing to pay $90,000 for a Toyota Prado when fuel costs about $1.80 a litre. It's another thing altogether when you've got to fill up a big tank at $3 a litre. Chinese brands offering PHEVs with 100 plus kilometres of electric range may get more attention if fuel prices remain high. And the timing couldn't be worse for Aussies cutting corners due to cost of living pressures. And many are simply spending less time driving their cars. Using fuel price comparison apps and supermarket discounts will certainly help. But those are like putting band-aids on bullet wounds if fuel prices keep going up. Bottom line, if fuel prices surge towards or even beyond $3 a litre and stay there, Australia's rapid shift towards electrification won't be driven by NVES or environmental concerns. It'll be pure economic survival. There's so much news happening right now that I couldn't get into in this video, like the six-figure BMW iX3 price in Australia, or that young Aussies are failing their learner's driver's licensing testing, and that Chery's boss wants to hear from unhappy customers, and plenty more besides. Read all about it on the Car Sales editorial page by clicking there.